I'm Angie with Core Star Pilates, and today's exercise is the half roll back. The half roll back, like the name suggests, we're going to roll halfway back and then come back out of it. This exercise targets your abs. So we're going to be in a seated position. Your knees are bent, your feet are relatively flat on the floor. It depends on how much flexibility you have in your ankles, your knees, or your hips, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And so you're going to find your sit bones, sit right on top of them, stack your building blocks up, reach your arms out in front, take a small flexion forward over the thighs, and here we go. We exhale, we tilt the pelvis, we roll halfway back. We pause for an inhale. Exhale, scoop and round forward over the thighs. Pause here for an inhale. Exhale, tilt the pelvis, roll back. Inhale, pause. Exhale, scoop round forward, find your sit bones, and then inhale, stack up tall. And that's the half roll back. Let's break that down. So I've jury rigged a prop here to help give me some feedback. Now I'm not going to put my weight into this, which is why I don't have a more solid base here. So I just used a couple of yoga blocks. I've got a weight so that it doesn't move too much, and then a pillow just right in front of it. If you have a BOSU, that is the best thing to use, but I know not everybody has a BOSU. So this is a great way to give you a little feedback. So again, you're not putting weight into that. That's where your abs come in. One thing that is common with the half roll back is to work from the hip flexors rather than the abs. So you might see people hinge forward and back, or maybe they hinge and then round and hinge up. Sometimes it's a hinge back and then lead with the belly button up rather than kind of creating this curve to come forward. So that's where this comes in to help give you some feedback about how you're doing your articulation. So you're going to sit somewhat in front of this, and we're going to find sit bones. Now, this is where we're going to talk about, we talked earlier about whether your feet are on the floor or not. It depends on how much flexibility you have here, how much room you need in your hips. Personally, I like my feet out a little bit further from the body. I feel like I have a little bit more room for my hips. You can sit up on something if you need to. So if you feel like you're seated and you're already in a little bit of a rounded position, maybe a little something underneath the pelvis is good. With a half roll back, you do want to make sure you have enough space behind you on whatever you're seated so that when you tilt your pelvis, you don't go rolling off the back side. So prop up whatever you need to do. If your toes aren't touching, it's fine. And we're going to go with what I call I love you arms. You're going to cross the arms and bring them onto your chest. And we're going to focus only on the torso part here. So we're going to tilt the pelvis. So it's an exhale, like you're spilling water out of the back side of your pelvis, like you're doing a seated imprint, and you should feel your low spine come onto the pillow without putting any weight into it. It's about halfway there. And then, as if you had an iron ball right at the base of your ribs, you're going to round over, create a little bit more of a flexion here to come forward until you feel that your pelvis is about neutral or your sit bones are directly underneath you. And then we're going to stack up. So it's an exhale to tilt the pelvis like a seated imprint, lifting that pubic bone up, rolling onto the pillow from the base up to about mid-back-ish. Depends how big of a pillow you have. Pause here for an inhale, and then round over that bar, peel your spine off of the pillow from the top down until your sit bones are directly underneath you, and then stack it up. And that's a great way to use a little bit of a prop to give yourself some feedback on how you're doing the half roll back. So maybe after practicing with those props and you've got the mechanics down for the torso, but the first time you tried it with your arms out, your shoulders rounded forward and they came up towards the ears as well. Well, there's a good trick for that, and that's going to involve something you can hold in your hand and squeeze. So I'm going to use tennis balls, whatever size works for you, and we're going to do the same thing. So the purpose here is we're trying to do this without letting the shoulders round forward and like we're trying to reach for something to pull ourselves up so we can keep that work in the abs. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to bring the arms out in front, get the shoulders in a good neutral, palms face in, and then squeeze the ball. So you're going to keep that squeeze on whatever prop you're using. We're going to tilt the pelvis and we're going to roll into to our half roll back. We're going to pause here for the inhale. Exhale, we're going to round forwards, kind of pulling the belly button in as you round forward. Let's find the sit bones and stack up so we can keep practicing that tilt. So exhale, tilt the pelvis, roll back. Keep squeezing those balls. Inhale here. Exhale, scoop and round forward. Find your sits bones and stack up. Let's do it one more time. Exhale, tilt and roll back. Pause here for an inhale. Exhale, round forward, and then stack it up. And that's one great way to use a prop to help kind of tame the shoulders. So you're ready for a challenge. All right, let's use some hand weights again. So go ahead, maybe light 1-2 pounds. You can use more if you want, to start light and work your way up to heavier. So I'm going to use 2-pound weights, and I'm going to bring them in front of my chest. And I'm going to go into the more flowing half roll back, maintaining a little bit of a scoop. So hands in front of the sternum, elbows are a little wide, shoulders in a decent neutral. We're going to exhale, we're going to tilt the pelvis a little bit more, roll into your half roll back, pause for an inhale, exhale, scoop and round forward. So by adding that weight, I'm giving myself a little heavier load, so I have to work a little bit harder to control it back and to round forward. Go ahead and stack up over your sits bones. So that's one way to use weights. Another way is you could bring them to your forehead. So either hands in front of or hands behind. What feels best for your shoulders? Mine like in front. So give yourself a little bit of flexion, and now we're going to round back. One note here with the arms up, you got to watch the shoulders because they're definitely going to want to help to round you forward. So listen to those shoulders. Maybe this isn't the best version for you. Maybe you want to come back to here. Exhale, scoop, round forward. That's a much more challenging exercise there with the hands at the forehead with weights. Another way to challenge is to go back and you're going to hold your half roll back while you move your arms around. So now you have to stabilize so that your weight stays even from sit bone to sit bone while your arms do something else. So an easy one is to take one arm out at a time to the side. You could do this with weights. You could do this without weights. Weights aren't necessary for this particular one because what the body wants to do is to go with the arms. So your obliques have to work to keep everything facing center, like so. And then you can also do the same thing by taking the arms overhead. You could do both at the same time. Creates a heavier lever as you lift your arms up. So my abs have to work really hard to keep the ribs pulled down towards the hips. You could also try that one arm at a time, like so. And we'll scoop round forward and stack it up. So hand weights, great way to bring a little bit extra challenge to the half roll back. Now it's your turn to try these tips and tricks in your practice. Take pictures or videos, post to Instagram and Facebook, tag us, Core Star Pilates, and use the hashtag RealBodiesDoingPilates, and we'll share your posts on our feeds. I hope you had a good time watching these videos, and I look forward to sharing more exercises with you.